Susan Serpa.
Hi.
And Susan, I see that two people, Tony Wong
And Ellen
Ferguson, want you to speak on their behalf.
Yeah,
So.
both my speech and theirs should take less than 9 minutes.
Okay, well, let's start with the 5 and see how you go from there. Okay.
I'm Susan Serpa, property owner on Morningstar Drive in Central Division. I have a packet of letters that I would like to present to each supervisor for some concerned citizens in Central. These letters express concern about the lack of existing county services and law enforcement without new cuts being taken. Our concerns will be made worse if cuts are taken in services and staffing of the Sheriff's Department. And then I'd like to read the letters. This one is, my name is Ellen. I moved into Lemon Hill area in 1987. I quickly found out that the neighborhood was heavily infested with drug dealers and gang members. Gunshots, racing, reckless driving, and blasting stereos were an everyday occurrence. I became afraid to leave my house to go to work and afraid to come back home at night. One of the first times I called the Sheriff's Department for help, a deputy looked me straight in the eye and said, "Why don't you move?" Over the years, my home has been robbed. Gang members have tried to run me over with a car as I walked my dog. A gang member threatened me to kill me as I walked to my mailbox. And another gang member routinely made it a point to tell me I better quit talking to the police. Cars drove over my front lawn before I put up a fence, then ran into the fence instead. A car even ran into my house in the middle of the night. None of the persons at fault were ever punished. I had to pay for all the damages, and my insurance company gave me the choice of having my policy canceled or raising my deductible to $1,000. In 1994, I joined a community organization with the hope of making things better. I've talked and worked with anybody and everybody who would listen in every government agency you can think of, all to no avail. There have been some band-aids put on the wound, but the wound continues to bleed. 16 years later, the drugs continue to flow freely. Racing and reckless driving still make the streets unsafe for decent, law-abiding people, and the stereos are still blasting away. All my good friends and neighbors have given up, sold their houses, and moved. Now I'm considering doing that too. There are many laws on the books, such as the nuisance ordinance, the noise ordinance, and yard park ordinance, but they aren't being enforced. Why are the criminals being given a free rein to continue to terrorize innocent people? The criminals have learned that crime does pay. The South Area or Central Division has the highest crime rate, but the least amount of officers. Central Division doesn't even have a drug enforcement task force. Why? I would like to see a commitment from the board and the Sheriff's Department that any existing or new funds go directly to Central Division. Fill all existing deputy positions, either vacant or new. Keep these officers in Central Division and walking the beat. The South Area cannot afford to keep giving deputies to Elk Grove, Laguna, Rancho, and Citrus Heights. We need them here. And this is from Tony. My name is Tony. I've lived in the Lemon Hill area for 15 years. I have witnessed numerous drug deals, heard the constant ringing of gunfire, and found dozens of spent and live bullets when I walked my dogs. The bad guys constantly speed, power brake, spin donuts, and run into cars, fences, and houses. They have driven up on sidewalks trying to run me over. I've been harassed by drug dealers and users. They've tried to sell me weed, crack, heroin, and Vicodin. We have more than our fair share of parolees, probationers, general assistance clientele, Section 8, and low-income housing. South Sacramento, especially Central Division, needs a full-time drug enforcement team to combat our deeply rooted infestation of drugs and crime. The number of POP officers has dwindled down to 0 because they keep getting transferred elsewhere. Enough is enough. It's time to take back the most crime-ridden area, South Sacramento. It's time to pool resources such as discretionary funds, Justice Department funds, and funds from other agencies so that Central Division can fund, fill, and keep deputy positions in Lemon Hill area. It's time Sheriff Blandis, the Board of Supervisors, and the DA's office took the blindfolds off, the earplugs out, and really listen to the citizens. Start prosecuting misdemeanors, absentee landlords, and slumlords. Send the message that no matter how petty, crime does not pay. Neglected children have child protective services. Battered women have weave. Neglected elderly have adult protective services. Even abused and neglected animals have the SPCA, the Humane Society, and Animal Control. But what is there for grossly neglected neighborhoods? Nothing. My name is Susan, and I'm an owner on Morningstar. I lived in the Central Division for 14 of the past 17 years. I'm frustrated, mad, angry, upset, and tired of continuously hearing it takes time to rid Central, and specifically 2 streets, Morningstar and Clover Manor, of crime and holding absentee landlord tenants accountable. They bring down the neighborhood, put law-abiding citizens' health, safety, and peace of mind in jeopardy. We are afraid to invite friends and family over to our homes because we fear for their lives, valuables, health, and safety. We are embarrassed for them to see our slum city neighborhood we live in due to continuous 24/7 problems of inoperable cars, cars parked on yards that have become mud or dirt, drug dealing, gambling, gangs, graffiti, racing cars, substandard housing, car repair businesses, multiple families living in a single home, unsupervised children trespassing, broken glass and abandoned grocery carts, cars, and appliances on the street. I think everyone on this board and someone from the Sheriff's Department needs to live on Morningstar and Clover Manor for 6 months. Quite frankly, I don't think any one of you could last a week. Yet we've had to put up with this and more for 17 years. Stabbings, home invasion, fatal and non-fatal shootings, lives threatened, bullet holes in garage doors, domestic and gang-related fights, burned houses, gang threats, damage to personal property, and loud music vibrating houses several doors away, even with your windows and doors closed. That's just a small sample of what we put up daily. For the past 17 years, I have written my own letters to absentee landlords and tenants, worked in the Lemon Hill Community Organization, and currently on committees with residents. We've worked with various county agencies, nonprofits, and the private sector, but with very little success. There's some change, but nothing permanent. All we get is a Band-Aid effect. The Band-Aids keep getting reapplied but continue to be peeled away, leaving a very large gaping wound that never heals. Enough is enough. Central has the highest crime rates, largest population, and mileage to cover, yet Central has the least amount of field deputy positions to take care of business. Commitment. The tax-paying citizens want the board and the Sheriff's Department's commitment to fund, fill, and if necessary, increase deputy positions. Drug enforcement teams, POP, and neighborhood officers. Positions must be filled that will work on our streets and in our communities in Central. It is imperative that all county agencies work together. Code enforcement, probation, DA, narcotics enforcement, sheriff, the board of supervisors, etc., to make Central safe and virtually crime-free. We also want to see a mechanism put in place so that the community can monitor these services, dollars, and positions. You pass laws and regulations, but they are not enforced, and owners can't use them to get the job done either. Enhance these laws, policies, and regulations. Attach stiff fines. That's where you're going to get your money. Give offenders less time to get things fixed. Hold the offenders accountable. If you write any new laws, policy, or regulations, you need to include staffing and funding to handle them. We have asked time and time again to sit on the writing and passing of these rules and regulations as we live with the problems, but do we get to voice our options and change them? No. If you raise taxes and utilities, are we going to get improved services? I don't think so. We're not getting them now. Maybe the board needs to make the decision to incorporate into a city or merge with Sacramento City if the county can't get a handle on this. Merging would at least save one set of administrative costs. Thank you for letting me voice my concerns, but these concerns have been continually voiced for years. It has been said over and over again, it's time you really listened and acted in our best interests. The bottom line is, I'm tired of law-abiding citizens getting continually victimized by the criminals. I thought the law was written to protect the law-abiding and not the criminal. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.